Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be holding a virtual town hall here, going over our merger that's upcoming here. It's in the process of, being finalized, so we're super excited about that. I'm Dorian Hare. I'm the events and marketing manager here at the McHenry affiliate. Online with us today, we have Jerry Monica, President and CEO of McHenry Habitat, and Joel Williams, Executive Director of Lake County Habitat. Just some ground rules for how this is going to work for everybody. We did have a form that was sent out via link that you were able to, pop some questions into. So you can still use that form if you'd like. We also have the chat function here. So at any time while we have our opening remarks, if you'd like to pop a question into the chat, I'll be monitoring those. And in a little while, we'll go over those questions. If you have those questions in there. If you see something that's repeated, or if you're still curious while we're doing the Q&A, feel free to keep, entering those in. We'll have everybody stay on mute for now, but when we get to that Q&A section, if you have a moment and you'd like to pop on and ask a question live, you're also welcome to do that. So for now, I'll go ahead and pass it off to Jerry. He's going to get started with an intro, and I'll see you guys later.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight and giving us a little bit of your Thursday evening. I'm Jerry Monica. I've spent nearly 14 years leading Habitat McHenry. When I joined Habitat, it was after almost a full career at Motorola ended. So this was quite a change for me to come from a Fortune 50 company to a nonprofit in McHenry County. Someone I'd worked with at Motorola for a number of years, Joe Mulvey, was on the Chicagoland Habitat board. He knew that the McHenry job was open and he knew I was looking for work. So he was able to somehow convince me that working twice as hard at Habitat for a third of my Motorola salary would be a good thing for me. So with that kind of logic, how could I say no? Not to mention, Joe had already gone ahead and secured a $10,000 salary grant from me from Chicagoland for me. So I was in a position where I had to join. So when I joined the affiliate in March of 2011, I was the only full-time employee. We had two part-timers working there, office staff. We had no restores. We had all volunteer construction staff. The affiliate was kind of trapped in into building like two houses every 3 years. That was the cycle that they had fallen into. Pretty much the way it was going until I got there. Like I say, it was all construction volunteers, a construction volunteer coordinator as well, or team leader. And they were working 9 months of the year. We didn't work the winter hours, and it just wasn't. We were having very little impact. So beginning in 2012, though, we began the first repair program in the Chicago area. We were a charter member of Home Depot's Repair Corps that has been serving veterans ever since, and we've been part of that since the beginning right through to this year. So in 2013, I'm going to go maybe touch on a few highlights each year as we go through the years here. In 2013, we opened our first restore in Woodstock. In 2014, we started hiring construction staff. So we had our first construction manager in 2014. In 2015, we received our first $1 million construction grant. That's the largest single grant we've received to this day still. So as a result of that grant, it kind of kickstarted our construction program. And in the years 2016 and 2017 combined, we were able to complete 23 houses. So again, going back to the previous, the first 17 years of Habitat McHenry, that's 1994 through 2011, the total was, for that period of time, was 19 houses. So in 2 years, we had just about made that volume up. Another big fundamental change in this affiliate, or in the McHenry affiliate, was that in 2018 we shifted to the third-party mortgage model, and we also monetized our existing mortgage portfolio. So at that point, we stopped writing the mortgages ourselves and holding those mortgages for 30 years. Instead, we got a couple of programs going with some local banks, and our homeowners now go to the bank to get a conventional mortgage that is still, within the definition of affordable mortgage. It's 30% of their monthly income, just like a Habitat mortgage is. So, as far as those homeowners are concerned, it's fairly transparent, right? $750 or $800 a month is the same. The mortgage that they get from the bank does have a little bit of an interest component to it, but the trade-off for there is better credit reporting and the availability of other banking products that Habitat doesn't offer. So we haven't considered that as any kind of burden to the homeowners that we deal with. In 2019, then we opened our second restore. That was at 903 Front Street in McHenry. And then in 2020, we actually purchased that building, as well as the adjacent property at 907 Front Street, which now is the corporate headquarters for Habitat McHenry. So we have two buildings right in a row, our own little Habitat compound, as we call it. So in 2021, the affiliate exceeded $2 million in revenue for the first time ever. So the growth was largely being fueled by the restores, but a lot of the grant money that we were getting and some of the fundraising that we were doing. So that was quite a threshold for us to get over. In 2022, we secured the largest repair grant that we've gotten in our history. That was $400,000. And based on the good work that we were able to accomplish in 2023, that grant was actually increased to around $800,000. So we are kind of pivoting towards being a repair affiliate, just because it's sort of come to our attention that there are just as many people, if not more, who are looking to have the existing property that's affordable for them to be fixed up, and they can't necessarily afford to do that. And we step in, and the math of it is it really doesn't make a lot of sense for us to build one house or even two new houses while we let three fall into disrepair and maybe get condemned and put someone out of an affordable project. So it seems like it's a good complementary service to the home build program. Moving on to 2023, our revenue exceeded $3 million for the first time. So it took us almost 30 years to get to 2 million, and then 2 years later we were at 3 million. Now in 2024, the affiliate's grown from one full-time employee and two part-timers to a mix of 26 employees, mainly full-time, but some part-timers in there as well. We have two very profitable restores in operation. It's our largest source of non-designated money or non-restricted money. We've now completed 78 homes. We have 5 in process right now. So we have really picked up the pace of home building. And we've completed close to 300 repair jobs. So that to me is some impact. We are having impact in this county, and I'm especially proud of the level of services that we're able to offer, because we are by far and away the smallest of the 7 other affiliates in the Chicagoland area. Some more good news for our affiliate and the size that we've become. Beginning in 2017, our affiliate was recognized as one of the top 10 in terms of families served for all North American Habitat affiliates of our size. We actually rose to number 6, I think, in 2018, and we've been hovering right around there since. So I'm very proud of what the affiliate has accomplished under my leadership. And I'm saying this as I'm kind of wrapping up my Habitat career here. I'm proud of what I've been able to build, but there are plenty of other people that share in the achievements here. You know, I've had a great board that's indulged me and supported some of my schemes, if you will, right through to every single staff member that has turned my vision into action plans and goals each year. And most importantly, they have done a great job at achieving those goals. So now, as we close out 2024 and we look to the future, we have put together the most auspicious plan of all. Tonight's announcement that McHenry Habitat McHenry County and Habitat Lake County are combining forces to form Lake McHenry Habitat. Lake and McHenry. Lake. How are we going to say that, Joel? It's not Lake and, it's Lake Dash McHenry Habitat for Humanity. But that's going to ensure that the growth that both of the separate affiliates have enjoyed over the years will continue and strengthen from the synergies of the combined organization. I truly believe this new affiliate is going to quickly grow into the largest producing affiliate in the state of Illinois under the leadership of Joel Williams, who has already put together an awesome management team. Joel's also instituted a significant number of changes in the way that Lake County is approaching the affordable housing market over there. And both affiliates are now fully aligned with our practices and as we merge into one, and that's important. So, in conclusion, as I enter my next phase, I'm confident in the legacy I've built at McHenry, and I'm also confident that that legacy will endure and prosper under Joel, or I wouldn't have turned my affiliate over to him. So I have a lot of confidence in Joel, and I think at this point I said enough, and I can turn it over to you, Joel.
All right, Jerry. Well, thank you very much. Just a quick way to introduce myself. My name is Joel Williams. I am the current executive director of Habitat for Humanity Lake County. And upon Jerry's retirement, I will become the leader of the Lake McHenry, or however we wind up saying it out loud, the combined affiliate for Lake and McHenry County. So very grateful for the opportunity to be able to speak with all of you a little bit about what is going to be happening with this and just how excited we all are to know that this is going to take us to new levels and allow us to impact a lot more lives and partner with more people to be able to do that. So I joined Habitat Lake County about 3.5 years ago. I've been in the nonprofit sector for basically my entire professional career. I try to really be a service leader on things where I want to be part of mission-based organizations. And so when the opportunity came to join Habitat, it was a no-brainer. This is obviously an organization with such a tremendous mission, with so many people that support it, that make it work. The volunteers and everybody that make it up is really something that would be just a fantastic opportunity for anybody. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have joined it. I continue to be lucky in that now I get to lead this combined organization. And this is something where it is definitely better to be lucky than good, because I was able to inherit an incredibly strong organization. Habitat Lake County has been around for over 30 years. It's 35-ish now, and was led for many years by its founding executive director, Julie Donovan, who did tremendous things for the affiliate, has really left a very strong organization for me to be able to assume and then take to that next level. Also, when it comes to all the things that Jerry said, this merger is going to be something that is going to allow this organization to do so much more, because it is combining two strong organizations. This is not very common in the nonprofit sphere. It's not common in many spheres where you bring two organizations with two that are very strong, and you bring both of those strengths together to be able to increase impact. I give tremendous gratitude to Jerry and his board for seeing this as the way to be able to maximize the impact and taking Jerry's last year before he retires and making it a lot more difficult on him to prepare for this merger rather than just riding off into the sunset. But I do think that it is going to be a tremendous thing for this region. Our teams have really been looking at this, and we've asked the question, why do we want to merge? This isn't something just because it's easy or because it's the simple thing to do or anything like that. There has to be a good reason and a benefit to the people we serve to merge. So we had come up with a list of things that are really going to get better as a result of this merger. Obviously, our goal is to build more. We can do that when you have a larger organization like we do. We can also be more efficient by having a larger team, people that can specialize, people more expertise, so on and so forth. That allows us to just be more efficient in the things that we do. We will now have more resources that we can pool together. It's not just going to be, I'm going to oversimplify it here, but it's not just going to be that we've got two hammers. We've got two of a lot of things, two of things that are going to allow us to increase our impact because we have those resources available. We're going to be able to improve our sustainability. One of the things that we certainly saw during COVID and other times, you never know what is going to change or affect your ability to sustain the organization. So having this larger organization is going to help us weather any future storms a lot better and be able to continue to have that impact that we want to have. As I had mentioned before, we're enhancing expertise. Again, luckiest guy in the world that is going to not only inherited a lot of talent and expertise when I assumed the leadership of the Lake County organization, but now I get to inherit a lot of talent that exists at the McHenry County organization, and bringing those two teams together and all the expertise that will exist. It's going to be something where, as Jerry said, we're going to be able to do an awful lot to be able to benefit people. We are going to be able to streamline our governance. We'll talk about that. I know there were some questions about what our board of directors was going to look like, but by having a better opportunity for people to participate in the governance of Habitat is going to be something that's going to come out of this larger organization. We're going to also increase our access to funding. There are certain funding streams that are only available to larger organizations. We as individual organizations have not been able to access them, but combined, we're going to be able to access that. And that's going to, again, allow us to build more and serve more. Finally, and I think that this is going to be important, and hopefully that all of you are on the call can join us in this, we're going to have a stronger advocacy voice. When we need to talk about the importance of affordable housing or why it is something that should be allowed in communities, and we really want to support that, whether it is a government advocacy or just to your neighbors and talking about it, we're going to be much stronger because we're going to be a bigger voice. And we're excited about being able to do that. That is something that we want everybody to realize the good work that Habitat does. And the bigger we are, the bigger that message is going to be able to be. Very, again, excited and honored at this opportunity. Grateful for all of the people who came before me that have led this way, and really much looking forward to what we're going to be able to accomplish in the future. One of the things that I did want to also mention on this is that, and I hope I highlighted this as I was talking, the teams that are a part of this merger have been so great through it. We started having this conversation a year ago, and, this is something that can add a lot of work to everybody's plate. I talked about the amount of work that it added to Jerry's plate, but it certainly added some work to some of our already overworked and underpaid staff. Their willingness to be able to go through this and the excitement that they have and looking at this as something that is not only going to increase their opportunities to have an impact, but is going to, as I said, increase the number of people that we're going to serve, and the excitement and enthusiasm that is behind that just makes me really excited to be a part of this organization and leading them to that. So grateful to all of them for what they've done, grateful to all the supporters who will continue to support the organization, and looking forward to the future. So I think with that, I will turn it back to Dorian, who's going to lead us in some Q&A.
Okay, so as I kind of stated earlier, but I know there were a few more people who hopped on, so I just want to make sure that they know. We have our chat here that you can submit questions to. I'm going to run through questions that have already been submitted in a virtual link that we sent out ahead of time, but feel free to use that chat. I'll be monitoring it and I'll pop in some of those questions if they come through. This will be recorded, so if you want to share this with anybody who wasn't able to attend, feel free to do that afterwards. We'll make sure that it's available for you. Okay, so our first question here is we'll start up kind of at the top. When is this official?
So officially, we are going to become one organization on January 1st. There are still some things that we need to work with the state of Illinois and IRS and other things like that that are going to be more behind the scenes sort of stuff. But we are going to go forward as a new organization as Lake McHenry Habitat for Humanity on January 1st, 2025.
Okay, and what about, our contact information? How are people going to get a hold of us? Website, phone numbers, things like that?
So however you contact us now will continue to work. We aren't getting rid of any phone numbers. We're not getting rid of any email addresses. Those will continue to work. We will be launching a new domain. So that would be a new website, new email addresses, that sort of stuff. All the old ones will still work. So you will still be able to get in touch with us. You don't need to update anything that way. But we are going to be launching that in early 2025. And then that will also be part of a phone system revamp and other things with that. So again, all phone numbers, however you contacted us previously, will continue to work, and all email addresses will, and we'll be launching a new one that will be not replacing, but supplementing those old ones as well.
Okay, so I'm going to do a call back to something you had kind of mentioned earlier, which was the board of directors. So we had some curiosity about how that's going to function as a new affiliate.
Absolutely. So Jerry had brought up, the work with his board. I touched on it a little bit, and I probably should have said a little bit more about how great my board has been at accepting this proposition of merging. This isn't something where one board is going to remain and all of the other board members are going to ride off into the sunset because their organization doesn't exist anymore. What is going to happen is we are actually going to bring both boards together, and have people that want to participate in the life of Habitat in that governance way have that opportunity to do so. We do have some things that we need to prepare for in terms of the board structure in order to allow access to funding. We talked about this with the large organization being able to access more funding. Some of those things require a certain board composition in order to access. But the beauty of it is that we are still going to have other ways for people to participate in the organization, on committees, on councils. We'll have different nomenclature for that, but it's going to be a way for people to still participate in the life of the organization. Certainly, they can continue to volunteer on our build sites, but there are other ways that people can help with the governance and overall guiding and direction for the organization.
I think that's an important point too, Joel, that nobody was asked to leave the board. I've talked to my board, and I know Joel's had the same conversations that I've had, and it's really getting the most interested people as on the official board, but the other people that still want to be involved. As he said, we're not quite sure what to call it, if it's going to be an advisory board or what it's going to be, but they'll have the same amount of input as they've always had, and really the only difference would be that they wouldn't be voting, but their input will be taken, and they'll be just as important as they always were.
Great. So talking territory wise, we had some curiosity in here about our restore locations. One about the ones we currently have, and also with the closing of the one in Lake County, if there's a possibility that there's going to be a location out there in the future.
Yeah, so the restores in McHenry County have been so successful, and they're really wonderful places. If some of you have not been, I certainly encourage you to do so. The one that we had in Lake County that we had to close was largely just due to the fact that the rent for that facility was just too much for us to be able to sustain it. We had considered finding a new location when we were preparing to vacate that store. Some of these conversations were ongoing, so we didn't want to just settle on something in terms of finding a new restore. We are on the lookout for what would be a good location. It is going to come down to costs, location, those sort of factors that any sort of real estate, commercial real estate transaction is going to do. We are trying to find a location for that. We just want to make sure that it's the right location. The restores in McHenry County, both the McHenry location and the Woodstock location, will continue to operate, and we would be looking to expand that if we can find the right location for the right price.
Awesome. So similar question as far as location wise. We currently have two main offices that are operating for each affiliate. So what is that going to look like moving forward?
So I'm actually sitting, if you can see, I've got the logo behind me. I am sitting in the McHenry County offices today. As Jerry had mentioned when he was describing the progress that he's made, this building that I'm in is something that just a few years ago was not what it was, and is now a fantastic administrative office. This is a building that is owned by the affiliate, and so there's some value with that. Whereas the Lake County affiliate is currently renting some space that we don't have quite the same cool wall, but we're going to try and get that. We are still going to have a presence in both jurisdictions. We're trying to get away from just referring to it by the county nomenclature or anything like that. We want to make sure that we are just being present in the areas that we are serving. And certainly from a practicality standpoint, if we're going to be building from Waukegan in Lake County to Harvard in McHenry County, picking a location is, that is going to be close to both of those is going to be darn near impossible. So continuing to have that presence in both counties that's going to be accessible to the people we serve, to our volunteers and so on, is going to be important to us. So we do plan on maintaining both offices and having that available for people. As far as a legal address or where we're going to officially be headquartered, because this building that I'm sitting in McHenry is going to be is owned by the affiliate, as I said, that is going to be something that is going to be considered our legal and primary address. We will still have that presence in both locations for the people we serve.
Right. I mean, I don't think your intent was that somebody is going to have to be driving, have a daily commute of 45 minutes to get from one county to the other because that happens to be where the office is. And I know Joel and I have talked and had ongoing discussions about being able to work flex hours or have specific work at home periods and things like that. And it's probably going to be up to him to make that final decision. I'm not sure we'll get that in place for day one, but everyone's going to be fine. I know you're not going to be having a long daily commute.
Yeah, so speaking about staff, movements like this kind of stoke some fear of, oh no, there's going to be layoffs. We won't have enough, oversight to be able to have the staff that we have at the moment. How is this merger going to affect staff and even growth or the vision moving forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. And touched on this a little bit when I was expressing my gratitude to the staff that were currently at both organizations and their excitement and enthusiasm about that. And I'll express it to, my appreciation to Jerry as well. The way that we've been going about this has been one of growth and excitement. You think about a typical corporate merger, it's like, okay, you got two of everything now. There's going to be some cutting and there's things like that. That's not what is happening in this case. This is where we're really going to be able to bring teams together to be able to add to our impact. The only person who's not going to have a job is by choice, and that's Jerry with his retirement. So we can congratulate him on that. This is not a situation where we're going to be laying anybody off, where there's going to be a reduction in force, where there's going to be any change. To piggyback on, what Dorian was saying with the question, now that we're going to be doing more, there's going to be a need for more people than we even have. we have both operated so lean for so many years. It's always been there's more stuff to do than we've ever had people to do it. And we're, bringing the teams together, we're going to, still be in that situation where there's going to be more to do than people to do it. So we do see this as something that not only are the people that have brought us to this point today, going to be able to continue and help the affiliate grow and serve more people, but we're also going to be seeking additional people because there's going to be more roles that need to be filled. So it's an exciting time to be a part of this organization.
I mean, yeah, I'll echo that and say, like Joel had mentioned, I've always run a lean organization, and I think yours is leaner in Lake County than ours is. So there's not going to be anybody who is losing their job because of this merger. The other thing that's exciting is there's a number of staff positions in McHenry County that we never had just because the budget wasn't there, or there was a more pressing need that we thought would serve the mission better. So, but those jobs are necessary and they're needed for the growth. So those jobs are going to need to be created. And if you remember from the first all hands on deck we had on this a few weeks ago, we saw an org chart that had a lot of orange boxes on it, indicating open positions, and there's probably more branches on the tree that are gonna grow as the new affiliate grows. So it is a time. I think I was talking to Linda Matea today, and I was saying I almost wish I was earlier in my career or not quite ready to retire yet, because it's gonna be wild, to quote a great man. So you all got to be there because that's going to be wild.
Yeah, it's been fun to see it fold out, as an employee here. So I can definitely echo all those sentiments. It's been really cool to see the growth already. Okay, so speaking of kind of our growth and changes that are coming up, there was a question about, will there be any changes to the programs or services that we're offering?
There's nothing that is going to be a change as a result of the merger. There have been changes that have been happening at each affiliate that have been natural evolutions. And we will always continue to do that. We will be monitoring first of all, compliance with all appropriate laws, regulations, and guidance. And, just making sure that we're going to be meeting the needs of the people that we serve. As Jerry mentioned in his opening remarks, we have been coming together in terms of how we run certain aspects of our programs over the past couple of years, actually. And then as we started to go down this path of a merger, we started bringing those things even closer together. So the evolution that each of us have experienced over this time, there will continue to be evolution, but any change that is going to be made is not going to be as a result of this merger. It's just going to be in order to meet whatever best practice may be become apparent to us.
Well, I mean, and this space is growing so quickly, the affordable housing space, and there's a lot that Habitat could be doing that we don't do. And I just think Joel says evolution, but and that's probably a good word, but it's really an expansion of the services too. I mean, why is it always affordable home ownership? I mean, people want to rent, and that needs to be affordable as well. And it's not affordable in Northern Illinois. So there are affiliates that are starting to move into that space and do rentals. So there's plenty of other things that we could do, and as the new organization. And again, it's wide open for ideas.
All right, so our home ownership program and our critical home repair, obviously something that we work on every single day, but another important audience that we have is our volunteers. So we had a question come in asking about what is volunteering going to look like in the future. There's some that are from Lake County and McHenry, and how is that programming going to change at all?
We're hoping that it's going to be just like everything else, is we're going to increase our ability to offer that as an option for folks. To be clear, though, if you are a volunteer who has historically volunteered in Waukegan because it is where you live and there's a lot of desire to be a part of that local community and it's easy for you to get to, we're not going to say that the next time you sign up, you need to trek it out to Harvard in order to volunteer. We are still going to have the opportunities. We're not leaving any of the communities that we've served. We're going to continue to serve them. We want to make sure that we're going to continue to do that. And volunteers, which are what make this organization go, will continue to have those opportunities at those sites. What we're really hoping to have is that we'll just have more opportunities and more things. Now, some people may be willing to travel to and fro or wherever they want to go, and that's fine. They certainly can. Others are just going to look at the same places that they have been, and they can continue to do that as well. What we're hoping to do is, again, bring more expertise, more resources, more everything so that we do have more opportunities for people to volunteer. So currently, each affiliate has an online registration system. We won't ask for feedback on that right now, but just if you've provided it before, we hear you, and we're working on that system. We want to bring those systems together so that it is as easy as possible for people to be able to volunteer if they just, wherever they want to volunteer. If we're building there, we're hopefully going to, have a system in place that is going to allow them to do so.
Okay, so kind of, oh, go ahead, Jerry. Sorry about that.
I keep hitting on growth and how much growth there's going to be in the growth opportunities. So this is another area that's that way right now. We have a designated kind of an east construction team and a west construction team, but there's a need for a center construction team too, and the one that's going to move back and forth between east and west if that's what needs to be. So if anything, the need for volunteers is going to continue to grow. And as Joel said, they've fueled what Habitat's done since the beginning. So we're depending on the fact that we're going to be able to attract more volunteers and retain the volunteers that we have as it gets more exciting and there's more opportunities to do the kind of things you like to do.
Yeah, so kind of same realm, different area. We do have a ton of really great corporate contacts, so businesses can sign up and have a group day with us. The way that functions in both of our counties is a little different. So we had a question come in asking about donation of time instead of required money, like that happens in Lake County versus here in McHenry County, and how that's going to look in the future.
Yeah, I can touch on that a little bit. So historically in Lake County, we were in a very fortunate position that we were rich with corporations that were looking to have a corporate build day. There's a finite number of days that are available for larger groups to be able to participate. We want that finite number to grow. That's why we want to build more homes, so provide more of those volunteer opportunities as well. But the fact of the matter is there's a finite number of days. We also had a slightly different model of raising funds for some of those houses that we were building. And that was with some of our corporate partners that they would make a donation in exchange for a build day. And so what we would do is we would have our volunteer coordinator would work with the corporations, find out what day they were looking for. And if they wanted a specific day, we'd work on the donation and they would have that day available to them. Now, if we needed volunteers on a particular day and we were then asking for volunteers, that's not something that we'd say, okay, who has a check available to write to us so that we can get volunteers? That's where we're going out to the community and asking for volunteers. So in some cases, and I know more recently with McHenry, some of the builds have been further away from some of those potential corporate partners, building some of those homes in Harvard. And the need to get volunteers was McHenry going and asking for those volunteers. And so in those cases, that's not something we will obviously try to fundraise in other ways to be able to cover the costs of our construction. And that would happen in that case. But what we want to do with this combined entity is really look at on a per project sort of basis. We're not going to have a fixed policy that in order to volunteer, you need to, have a corporate partnership or, make a donation of this amount or whatever it's going to be. We want it to be something where, if we base it off of demand and frankly, our supply. I do want to add one thing to that, though, that those donations that we received from some of our corporate partners, one of the reasons that we ask for those from our corporate partners is so that the organizations and those groups that want to volunteer with us that don't have access to that sort of capital, scout troops, school groups, church groups, the like, we use those donations from those corporate partners to subsidize those volunteer groups so that they have the opportunity to still get the great experience of volunteering with a habitat. That, we didn't want it to just be a charge, so to speak, for people to be able to do. So it's going to be on a per project basis, as I said, and hopefully it's going to be something that, again, we're going to have more opportunities for people to be able to volunteer.
I mean, just adding from the standpoint of here, we aren't as lucky in McHenry County to be blessed with as much, corporate headquarters or corporate locations. Or this is still largely McHenry County is still largely agricultural or a collection of bedroom communities. People live here, but they don't work here. They drive to Schaumburg or they drive over to Lake County, and our policy has always been we'll ask for donations, but we don't require them. And frankly, that was because the time of getting a volunteer was more valuable to us than the money they were going to bring in. So that was a long-standing policy though, and things do change and things need to change. So I would never see that as a big source of revenue. So if that ended up hampering the growth of volunteerism, I would advocate for dropping it entirely. So, but that could be my decision.
Okay, so speaking about, our revenue and how we're supporting our programming, of course, there's the question of, where are our donors, dollars going to be going now that there's two entities coming together into a bigger one? And also specifically off of that, is there a way to allocate those? How are we going to organize that? They're curious.
Yeah, so one of the things that is so important in any sort of fundraising, but especially with Habitat, is we want to make sure that we are respecting the donor's intent. So if a donor is making a donation and they want that donation to go to their community, or they want it to be for a particular house that they know we're building, then that is where that donation is going to go. Donations that are not designated in that way is going to go to the overall mission. And so if we get a donation that, doesn't have any designation to it, then we're going to use it wherever the need is. And so if the need happens to be a house that is currently being built in McHenry, then we will use it there. If it's going to be a house that is being built in Round Lake, we will use it there. And so it really just goes to the overall mission of it. But overall, we certainly want to respect the intent of the donor. And so anybody who's making a donation, whether that is an individual or a foundation or a corporation, then we are going to respect that donor's intent and work with them to make sure that that intent is honored.
Great. So we kind of have like our final question here, but I'm just gonna call out back to the people who are in attendance. If anyone has any outstanding questions here, feel free to put them in the chat. If you feel so moved to either unmute yourself, you don't have to put yourself on camera if you want to, and you have something you're curious about before we wrap up, feel free to do that. So this last one is, how can people get in contact with us about specifically merger related questions or concerns, curiosities moving forward?
Well, I think up until the end of December, I should just say contact Jerry. But I think that one of the things that you can do is there's contact information for both affiliates on the websites. Jamie was kind enough to put that in the chat there. Otherwise, you can certainly reach out to either Jerry or myself for the time being. But in the long term, we both have email addresses that are just info. So that's info at either habitatlc.org or at habitatmchenry.org. And what we'll do is we also both, there's a landing page for some merger information, much like Dorian was able to create a form for people to submit questions or ask other things like that. We'll have a form available on there that people can just fill out if they want some stuff. And we'll add that to the FAQ that exists on that landing page. So Jamie, if you wouldn't mind putting the direct link to that merger page, and we're going to be putting this on social media and other places as well, so that people have up-to-date information. This recording will be on that site for people to be able to view it or anything else that they might need.
Great. So before we jump into closing remarks, I just want to give the floor to both of you if you have any other outstanding information or things you want to share about the merger before we close.
Nothing's occurring to me at the moment.
Wish I had some sort of profound and impactful closing statement, but no, it is one that I do feel the need to once again express my gratitude to everybody who has led both of these organizations to this point. Jerry, I've expressed this to you. I'll express it again. I'm very grateful for your willingness to explore this as you prepared for your retirement. As I said, it would have been a heck of a lot easier to just walk away and let somebody else assume the responsibility. But you made this last year a lot more work for you, and I'm grateful for that and for everything that you did to build the organization to what it was, so that when we brought these two forces together, it was going to be even better. Grateful to all the people who came before me at Lake County and all of the impact that they were able to have. This is something that we know that legacy is going to continue. The legacy of both organizations is just going to grow as a result of this, and I'm excited for the future.
Well, and I guess I will say that, I'm excited for the new organization. This has been something that I've been an advocate for a number of years. We dipped our toe into the merger pool a couple of times. I guess the second time I'm glad it didn't work out because we wouldn't have Joel if it had. But I'm glad we're able to get it done now. I really think that, and you really are starting to see a little bit more of this within Habitat. I think it's something that HFHI is encouraging to, when there's a transition in leadership, to explore merging with nearby affiliates. There's a saying that says there's strength in numbers, but maybe not the case with Habitat affiliates. Maybe it's that the big get bigger and the small don't survive. So I think this is just not saying that either of the two affiliates that we have to do this or we're going to go out of business, but I think Joel mentioned it before. Larger affiliates have access to funding sources that smaller entities don't. There's just a perceived, I'm not even sure what the right word is, in big organizations, that they're safer or better able to handle the money or are more skilled at the mission or whatever. But it's not always what it is. It's sure what it looks like. And to me, I know this is going to be good, but it looks real good too.
Great. So thank you both for joining us this evening. I learn something new every single time I hear you guys talk about the merger, and it's just really exciting to be a part of it. Thanks to everybody for joining us. Continue to submit questions to us via, our email addresses that we have in the chat there. Both of those infos. You can read all about, the merger more in depth and call back to it. We'll be updating that as more information gets released, and that's habitatlc.org/merger. You can find that there. Let's see, what else did I have here to say? We will be, like I said, posting this recording for everyone to see. So I know there's a lot of people who might be curious about what's going on with the merger. This will be available. We'll be posting it on our socials. We'll be sending out an email blast. If you can't find it anywhere, feel free to reach out to us. We'll make sure that you get that recording. Once again, thank everybody for joining us tonight, and have a good evening.
Thank you, everybody.